At the airport, I was informed my ticket was voided. My family boarded the plane without ever looking back. That night, my sister texted, "You should be used to being left behind by now." I only replied, "Don't worry. Your new year will be unforgettable." Can you imagine standing at the airport gate, holding your child's hand, watching your entire family board a plane for a vacation you paid for, and they don't even glance back? They canceled my ticket. They left us. And what I did next, well, they'll never forget it. It all started innocently enough. This trip had been meticulously planned for 2 months. Group chats, booking links, screenshots of the perfect cabin, heated floors, a massive fireplace, a private hot tub, and a snow forecast for New Year's Eve. I was the third person to send in my money, $1,300, just like everyone else. It was supposed to be a week away from everything, a chance to finally relax. The airport was a blur of people, rushing, kids crying, suitcases squealing. I felt a nervous flutter, but I chalked it up to traveling with my daughter. I double-checked our bags, our coats, my purse. Everything was in place. Until it wasn't. The airline agent scanned my ticket once, then again. My gut twisted. Her expression didn't change, but her eyes flickered to another screen. Then she asked for my ID. I knew something was wrong when she stepped aside and called someone over. My heart hammered against my ribs. "What's the issue?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. She said my reservation had been canceled. Quietly, like it was something I already knew. "That can't be right," I pleaded. "I paid. My entire family is on this flight." She asked if someone else had booked it for me. I admitted my sister had added everyone to the group reservation. That's when the second agent gave me a look I'll never forget. Not rude, not pitying, just like she understood something I didn't yet. My daughter tugged my sleeve. "Are we getting on the plane?" I told her. "Just a minute." I frantically texted my sister, my brother, my mom. Nothing. No one answered. I looked up from my phone, and there they were, boarding. My parents, my sister, my brother, even my cousin who never chipped in for groceries at Thanksgiving, all happily walking down the jet bridge. Not one of them turned around. Not one. My daughter asked again, "Are we still going on vacation?" I just shook my head. "No, baby." The Uber ride home was silent, except for her quiet question, "Are you mad?" I told her I wasn't, but I was. Mad doesn't even begin to cover it. I was numb at first, then cold, then something else entirely. Later that night, sitting on the edge of my bed, I scrolled through our group chat. For days earlier, a message from my sister. "I'll handle the final confirmations." No one questioned it. Why would they? She always handles that stuff. And this time, she'd handled me right out of the plan. Around 10 p.m., after ignoring my messages for hours, her text finally came. "You should be used to being left out by now." No warning, no explanation, just that. I stared at it for 10 long seconds before I typed my reply. "Don't worry. Your new year will be unforgettable." And then I got to work. They'd forgotten who they were dealing with. They forgot how much of the family's finances quietly ran through me: bills, subscriptions, autopays, savings. I'd been their silent safety net for years. Never complained, never made it a thing. But that night, I logged into every shared account, changed every password, and pulled out every dollar with my name attached to it. By the time I was done, I wasn't part of the family anymore. I was something else. And that was just the beginning. They landed early the next morning. My sister posted one of those filtered videos, snow falling in slow motion outside their cabin window, her coffee cup in the foreground, soft music playing. The caption read, "Finally breathing again." A few minutes later, my brother uploaded a video of the living room, beams, fire crackling in the hearth, someone laughing off-screen. Probably my cousin. My mom was already wearing the fuzzy robe she'd mentioned 3 times. They looked cozy, carefree, like nothing had happened. I watched it all from my apartment with my daughter, who was eating cereal, and asked if we could go sledding later. I said yes, and smiled. Not because I was fine, not because it didn't hurt, but because I had a plan now. They thought leaving me behind was just something I'd get over. They forgot I was the one who handled things. That first day, I didn't do anything major. I wanted them to get comfortable. I let them post their little videos, pretend they were living some Pinterest dream. I even gave them 24 hours of peace. Then I started. The first thing I did was pull my debit card off the utility bills at my parents' house. My name was the only one on the autopay. The bills wouldn't bounce until the next cycle, but it would start the chain. Next, the streaming services. Netflix, Hulu, Spotify. Family plan? Gone. I didn't just change the passwords. I shut down the accounts entirely. The email addresses they were tied to? Oh, those were mine. So were the payments. They'd find out later that night, probably in the middle of some movie. I imagined the TV freezing halfway through, and the room going quiet. By noon, my phone was buzzing. A missed call from my cousin. I didn't answer. He texted, "Did you change the password to the expense doc?" I ignored it. Then my sister sent me a one-word message. Seriously? Still nothing from me. By day 2, they were scrambling. I got a vague voicemail from my mom saying they were having some issues with a reservation and asking if I'd changed anything on my end. Her voice sounded casual, like she was trying not to show concern. She still didn't understand. But that night, something shifted. They tried to eat at a fancy steakhouse in town. My dad's card got declined twice. Turns out the joint account we shared for larger expenses had hit its limit. I'd withdrawn every dollar. Then another card, linked to a PayPal account I'd set up for them years ago, empty too. Then the cabin host reached out. She emailed my sister, saying the second half of the rental payment hadn't gone through. They'd used my card for the deposit. They assumed I'd be there. Now, my name was removed from the reservation, the payment failed, and my sister had to put her own card down. I knew she didn't have that kind of limit. She didn't post anything that night. In fact, she deleted her earlier posts. On day 3, my brother left early. My mom told a family group chat it was a work issue, but I knew the real reason. The savings account I'd helped him with for truck repairs, the one that was half mine, had been closed. I made sure of it. Day 4. I started getting bank alerts. Or rather, I started seeing them get bank alerts. The mortgage account tied to my parents' house? Deactivated. The shared emergency fund we'd all contributed to, meant for sickness or sudden help. Closed. My employer-linked bank app was disconnected from everything except my personal accounts. Every alert had my name on it. That's when the messages started coming in. Not just from my mom or sister, but from my cousin, even an aunt who wasn't on the trip. Word had spread. My mom messaged again, directly this time. "What's happening?" I stared at it, then closed the app. They'd relied on me quietly for years. I was never the favorite, never the loud one, never the one they posted about on birthdays. But I was always the safety net. And they cut me out of a trip I helped pay for. Now they could learn what it felt like to fall without one. And the best part? The week wasn't even over. By day 6, my phone looked like a hotline. Missed calls, voicemails, texts from relatives who only ever contacted me when someone was sick or dead. I hadn't said a word since the airport, but suddenly I was the most important person in the family. They were still at the cabin, snowed in. A storm had hit that morning and shut down the roads. I only knew because my cousin posted a video of the driveway buried in snow with the caption, "Cabin fever is real." No music, no filters this time. Around 10 a.m., my mom called again. I watched it ring. Then my dad. Then my brother. Then my sister twice. She followed up with a text, "Can we please just talk?" Not one of them said sorry. At noon, my cousin sent a long message. The cabin host had threatened to cancel their last 2 nights if the balance wasn't paid. The second charge on my sister's card had failed, and my dad's card was frozen. They were embarrassed. They were stuck. I didn't know what they expected from me anymore. They treated me like extra baggage, too heavy to bring. And now they wanted me to carry them again. Then it got worse. Around 1 p.m., the group chat exploded. My mom wrote, "Can anyone access the emergency account? Mortgage bounced." Sister replied, "I can't even log in. It says the account doesn't exist." Then my brother, "What happened to the savings?" Chaos. I just watched. The financial system they built their lives around, the one I quietly managed, was gone. Not sabotaged, simply removed. Just like I had been. That afternoon, my dad showed up at my apartment without warning. I didn't open the door. I stood behind it while my daughter sat quietly in the living room. He knocked once, then again. I waited until he left, then watched through the peephole as he walked back to his car. No code. No expression. But that's when I realized he didn't come with answers. He came because they were trapped. My sister tried again later. A long message. She said they were overwhelmed, that things had escalated too fast, that no one meant to hurt me. She said I was taking it too far, that this wasn't how family behaves, that I should think about how this would affect my daughter. As if she cared. No mention of the airport. No explanation for the cancellation. Nothing about me standing there with my child, watching my entire family board a plane, without even looking back. I didn't respond. That night, an unknown number called. Voicemail. It was the cabin host, sounding uncomfortable, asking if I could reactivate the payment or transfer the booking. They'd been trying to verify funds for 48 hours. The storm made everything worse. They couldn't check out without settling the balance, and the system had flagged the reservation for possible fraud. When I heard the word fraud, I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because the irony was unbearable. At dinner, my daughter looked at me and asked, "Why is everyone calling?" I told her that sometimes, when people don't value someone until they lose them, they panic. She nodded like she understood. Maybe not fully, but she would someday. That night, I finally replied to my mom's last message. She had asked, "Are you doing this on purpose?" I wrote back, "Yes, and I'm not even close to finished." Then I muted the chat, set my phone face down, and let them sit with it. They had one day left at the cabin, and I was just getting started. On their final full day, the silence was loud. The trip they documented like a lifestyle blog went completely dark. No posts, no updates, not even my sister's usual, just woke up selfie. I figured the storm had passed, and reality was setting in. Then, around 9 a.m., I got an email I wasn't expecting from the cabin's property manager. Not automated. Direct. Urgent. They tried charging the balance 4 times. Every attempt failed. If payment wasn't received by 6 p.m., they'd contact the local sheriff and pursue intentional non-payment. I didn't reply. Instead, I forwarded the email, headers, timestamp, legal warning, straight into the family group chat. No caption, no explanation. My phone exploded. Calls from my mom, dad, sister, brother, even an aunt. I ignored all of them. Then a blocked number called. I answered. It was the county sheriff's office. The officer asked if I was still associated with the reservation. I told her the truth, that I was removed without my knowledge, never boarded the flight, never stayed there, and never received a refund. She paused, then said, "Understood. Thank you for your time." 10 minutes later, my sister texted, "Did you actually report us?" I didn't answer. They were doing that themselves. At 1:30 p.m., someone knocked on my door. It was my brother. He looked utterly exhausted. No bags, no excuses. He said he didn't know my ticket was canceled and thought I'd backed out. I told him I was standing at the gate with my daughter while they boarded without looking back. He slid a check across the table. $1,300. My share. I didn't touch it. I told him this wasn't about money. It was about years of being the backup plan, the safety net, the one they used and ignored. This was me stepping away for good. He nodded and left. That night, my sister sent one last message. "You've always been bitter." Then another. "You're not acting like a real daughter." I screenshotted them. Not for proof, but to remember who they were when things fell apart. The next morning, the twist I didn't expect arrived. The local news ran a story. Luxury cabin guests under investigation for unpaid rental fees during holiday storm. No names, but a blurry photo showed them on the porch. My mom in her robe, my dad in flannel, my sister with her arms crossed. It didn't go viral, but it reached the people who mattered to them. Their town, their church, their social circle. By noon, my mom's Facebook was gone. My sister's stories disappeared for the first time in years. They were the ones explaining themselves, and I didn't have to say a single word. My cousin's Instagram? Locked. I didn't even need to check my messages to know the group chat was dead. Not quiet. Abandoned. I expected retaliation. Another angry text. Someone showing up again. But nothing came. Just silence. A different kind of silence. Not pride.
Shame.
3 days passed. No calls. No blame. No one asking me to fix anything. Then Friday afternoon, while I was folding laundry, my daughter handed me an envelope someone had left at the door. No name. Inside was the same check my brother gave me, uncashed, and a typed letter, no signature, cold and formal. It said that since I hadn't gone on the trip, I wasn't entitled to a refund. What happened was called a family misunderstanding. It said it was time to move on. I didn't argue. I didn't reply. I flipped the page over and wrote one sentence. Next time you want peace, don't create a war you expect someone else to clean up. I dropped it in their mailbox and walked away. The weekend passed quietly. No messages, no visits. I think they finally understood. The damage wasn't just financial. It was trust. That Sunday, walking back from the park, my daughter asked, "Why do we always have to be the quiet ones?" She said it wasn't okay when people lie and exclude us, and we just move on. She was right. That night, I booked a trip just for us. Mid-January, a private cabin in Colorado. Real snow, real fire. No shared accounts, no favors. Just us. When the confirmation came through, I posted one screenshot with a simple caption, "Paid in full. No one left behind." We went. We laughed. We drank cocoa. We sat by the fire while the wind howled outside. I posted photos, not for attention, but for clarity. For once, I wasn't holding things together for everyone else. I was living. Relatives watched quietly. No comments. My mom sent a single heart emoji. My cousin posted a quote about letting go. My sister posted, "The kindest people become cold after being burned." She was wrong. I didn't become cold. I became clear. On our last night, my daughter asked if we could come back next year. I said yes, without asking anyone. No group chat, no permission. On the flight home, she slept against my shoulder while I watched the clouds and thought about how peaceful life gets when you stop begging to be seen. When we landed, I turned on my phone. One message waited for my sister. "You made your point. Hope it was worth it." I blocked her. Not out of anger, but because there was nothing left to say. It was never about revenge. It was about freedom. And I've never felt lighter. So, tell me, what would you have done in my place? Have you ever had to draw a line in the sand with your family? I'd really love to hear your thoughts down in the comments.